Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence, and it's getting closer. We'll be talking about the cliff coming up today. We'll be discussing Revelation chapter 6, 12 through 17, chapter 8, the fourth trumpet, and then chapter 16, the fourth bowl, and it'll be interesting. So sixth and the fourth and the fourth and the workflow between them. And this is very complex today, but stick with me. It'll be worth it. You'll see some eye candy today too. This is German astronomy eye candy, and basically talking about the sunspots and how they progress into CMEs or flares or whatever it happens to be, filaments. And then how beautiful they look depending upon the angstroms that they use and the processing that they use. But this is from Germany. Rather beautiful. We're doing the philosophy behind the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of the end of days. We're trying to give you the Bible, give you prophecy, but also give you cosmic physics. That's what this is about. This is cosmic physics today. And you're going to get the crash course and then the news. Okay, so Ben Davidson, suspicious observers, micronova of some sort, whether huge or small, by 2040. He seems to be on pace. It could be sooner. Marco Rummelsberg, that's how my German friend now, he's been talking about the active region, and you can see his eye candy. That's what I just showed you, that German site on the last slide. These sections of 4294, we thought they were going to blow. We thought the Earth was going to go into the big blast this week. But it's going to happen at some point in time. Here's how Ben phrases it. At some point, Earth's weakening magnetic field will weaken so much that the planet will not be able to sustain even a moderate disruption in the solar wind. When that occurs, the grids will go down, probably at first for a few months, then at the end it'll be permanently. When that occurs, the grids will go down and there will be no more power as the sun continually ramps up toward micronova and the Earth's magnetic field continues to weaken. Cosmic radiation will bombard the planet more and more. At some point, the GMCS, which is the galactic magnetic current sheet solar in the solar system, that's solar. That's the whole thing. Well, it's actually galactic too, so it's local and galaxy wide. So we'll enter the point where the galactic magnetic reversal occurs. I'll try to explain that to you, the physics of it, and the sun will go dark for 3 days, followed by a solar micronova, and the planet will go twist, and literally I'll end up moving from the 45th parallel north to the 45th parallel south. That's what's going to happen. Carringtons are real. So when we start talking about these types of events coming up, it's occurred in 1859. It will occur again. They generally happen every 150 to 200 years, but definitely there's something like this every year, every 100 years rather. So in 1859, the Carrington Event, the last major flare from the sun, we have a new estimate. 3 years ago, everyone assumed it was an X45, subsequent estimates at X80. Okay, it could have been that big. And the flares that we've seen lately were X1s or 4s and things like that. Anything close to 45 or 80. The new one says X105. Wow. With a range that could be from X81 to X146. Okay, the higher estimate truly sets the 1859 event apart from major storms like 1909, 1921, 2003, and 2024. But it also offers a bit of concern. First, we know the Carrington Event level flares hit Earth every 150 to 200 years. That's accurate. And if it is indeed that big, there's no question Earth is in a major trouble the next time one hits. We'll be sent back to the Stone Age. Yep. We're 166 years since the last one in the danger zone. As Earth's magnetic field continues fading on the ongoing geomagnetic excursion, it may only take X30 or X50 flare to have the same effects on our planet right now. I'll try to give you more specifics as we move through this. And remember, folks, the September 2024 solar storm matched the aurora production of Carrington. Yes, it was that low. It got down to Florida and the not Bermuda, but actually it would have gotten to Bermuda. So that's low latitude stuff from a very weak storm. So the impact was about 100 times weaker. Yeah, it was very weak, but very deep in latitude. So this is scary. So this is from Oxford Academics. So it's accurate, and Ben's comments on that when this popped popped up. This was from June of 2025. So a lot of science to back it up. So the sun can super flare every 100 years. So sun-like stars produce super flares roughly once per century. This is science. This is AAAS, okay? And this is fairly current here. This is what's the date? The 12th of December, 2024. So it's a year ago. Solar flares are bright, transient, and multi-wave emissions from active regions of the sun. And that's what's been going on this week. Very active, okay? So once again, X50 every 200 years, X200 every 1,000 years. We know these things are coming. And so you can plot them out. They'll occur. And we just have to be ready to go back into the Stone Age and survive somehow. A remnant will survive. Occur roughly once per century on stars with sun-like temperature and variability. So our star is kind of that way. So here's what's been going on all week. It's been silent. All the seals are silent, people, okay? And so this is the Carrington up above, and that's what they, drew out in 1859. And then we had 4296 and 4294 that, and inside there are so many little sunspots that make up that overall sunspot of, say, 4294. But that thing has been angry, and I've been watching it all day. It's been angry, okay? It's been really kicking out a lot of sparks. And so the sunspot group on the south is bigger than the one that caused the Carrington event in 1859. Well, sort of. It's actually two active regions huddled closely together, so technically no sunspot group has broken that mark, but the interaction between them is there, and so they are acting like one sunspot group. As Ben states it, Ben Davidson, they're like little kids at the school dance, and they don't necessarily want to dance with each other, but they kind of interact. Sometimes they do interact. So the Carrington Event solar flare is estimated to be an X45, maybe an X105. But making it significantly more powerful than the typical X1 that we've been seeing lately. Okay, we will have something arriving Monday evening, possibly late, that will be it'll be an X8.1, almost an X1. Okay, or not an X8.1, but a M8.1. Okay, so so the dates again are 9/1 to 2 of 1859 with the Carrington. So this is from Tony Phillips, just so you know. It isn't from Ben. He didn't draw this thing out. This is Tony's people, and that's spaceweather.com. He's very good at this. Now, he can't stand me anymore because I'm kind of a Trump supporter. We were friends for a little while, and then he hated me now. So anyway, but he's been talking about this all week, that if this thing blows, we're going to go into the Stone Age, just like Carrington would have done. So you can pause this if you want to, but the main thing is there are guys out there that are trying to frighten you the other way, that nothing's occurring. They're woke people, and so they want to blame mankind for what's going on when it's the sun that's really doing this, okay? So watch out for Vincent Ledvina, smart guy, but woke, and Chris Wickland. They're both woke, and so they don't understand what's going on. But I'm saying Tony Phillips is great. He knows his space weather. He's brilliant. And so pause it if you want to and read more about this. But basically, I'm telling you that you have to be aware of what's coming. And this could have taken us out. It could have. This would have put us into the Stone Age. Okay? There's a lot of activity. So we are in the downside of the sunspot number progression, the cycle, the 11-year cycle. But what's occurring is that we had a spike here, okay? The sunspot number has skyrocketed, relatively speaking, over the last 5 days, 5 consecutive days with sunspot number above 150 and an average of 170. The current average is far above the monthly values of 2025. It is likely the high is only transient, and the above sunspot number for the month will drop. It probably will, but it's been up now, okay? And so what we had expected is to go down gradually, but we're not. The sun is fighting. But that occurs also on the way down out of a solar maximum. So you'll get these spikes, nasty spikes, and then you can see the sunspot group way off to the left again there. So then last night we had the blast, okay, the M8.1. So not up to X, but almost, an 8.1. But there was an M1 before that. So there's two that'll probably hit us. And you can see it blasting off from the sun there. Okay, so this is from Ben, of course, from December 7th, and that's today. Let's see, last night was a low-level M class, followed by a larger M8.1 blast. It was obvious from the initial moments that the plasma was moving. It's a CME, no doubt about it, okay? The production of signals at every frame and coronagraphs did not take long to show a full halo coronal mass ejection, a direct blast at the Earth, okay? That's Ben Davidson again. NOAA reported on it. Now, what I want, this is conjecture right now, but it's Joelism conjecture. It's pretty good. So you've got the blast that occurred last night at the UTC time. Okay, so 2039 UTC. It takes 8 minutes, 8.3 minutes to get here to the Earth. And then we record it as 2039. Then within 2 minutes of that, we of course, we're here on the right hand side, you can see the solar blast, the photons that hit the Western Pacific, okay? Actually, well, Eastern Western Pacific, okay? And then what occurred was the 7.0 earthquake up in Alaska 2 minutes afterward, okay? So you've got this perceived by us as photons, and then suddenly Alaska is rocketing, okay? And that's a 7.0. That's a big earthquake at 2041. So can that CME, the photons, compress the magnetosphere down enough that the density rises? And what about the BZ? The BZ either turns the power of the sun towards us or away from us. And the BZ was fairly low, so that could have let some of that energy in and caused the eruption up in Alaska. I don't know. That's conjecture, but it's interesting. I will say this, that people are noticing that the planes are acting up as a result of the solar flares and all the other solar issues. So even Tim Pool is talking about it on his show, okay? Cosmic rays from distant supernova may have caused JetBlue flight to drop midair, expert says. Okay, so this is New Jersey-bound JetBlue plane that plunged thousands of feet, likely hit by cosmic rays, not from our sun, but from another galaxy. So remember how Ben had said that it's not only local, it's also galactic. That's the problem. Our magnetosphere is so thin that anything from outside of our solar system can hit us and cause all sorts of problems. So the Times of India, pause it if you want to, but basically it talks about the jet bus flight to Newark from Cancun and how they got blasted and they dropped by 1,000 feet. People got hurt. And so on the right-hand side, top story, folks, Tim Pool was even able to jump on this one as well as pretty much every other major news outlet in the world as of yesterday. And this is from December 6th. The problem with solar radiation from a few days ago, there's just one real thing going on. There wasn't a large solar storm going on. It was a low solar storm day. I checked, I agree. So their only guess is that it was a random cosmic ray surge from a distant supernova. It just happened to hit the aircraft. So it was like slicing through and hitting it, okay? Random one in a stupid trillion chance. Thereby, I hereby submit to you that, well, this is what I've been telling you would happen, that the weak magnetic field of the Earth would be letting space energy at higher levels. So it's not safe. And I've got a very close friend that's a pilot, and I send him notes all the time to make him aware he's going to retire in about 6 months. God bless him. Get out of that. It's like rolling the dice every single time, and someday it's not going to work out for you. Okay, so and guess what? The cosmic rays from things like supernova are what I was talking about, in addition to space weather from the sun. So it's not just the sun. It's other things that are galactic. All right, so let's move forward here. Flight radiation reached 20-year high during recent solar outburst. Scientists confirmed. This is Gizmodo. This is December 3rd. And you can see the plane. That's not exactly how it would look, but that's how they make it look. And so I can't even read what's on the right-hand side. It's just too small and behind my bar. So anyway, let's read down below. In the recent release, the Surrey Space Centre, SSC, in the UK, reported that a burst of solar activity caused a sharp radiation spike strong enough to be detected at ground level Early analysis revealed that the radiation levels were at 40,000 feet. Okay, altitudes frequented by commercial planes peaked at 10 times the normal range, surpassing the previous record set nearly 20 years ago. This was the strongest ground level event we've seen since December 2006. Yeah, but it's happening frequently now. So that was Clive Dwyer that said that and reported by Gizmodo again. Fairly fresh information. And so supernova, I want you to believe that supernovas that they occur, and micronovas. Now, we've known about supernovas for probably 20, 30 years, but the micronova is proven and reproven. The cutest thermonuclear explosion in the universe from the Atlantic, and they're very liberal, but if they're willing to publish this, that's interesting. So now let me introduce you to a new term, micronova, as of 2022. We found them in 2018. Okay, on the right-hand side from 2022, again from physics.org, astronomers discover a micronovae, a new kind of stellar explosion. Okay, so it's proven and reproven time and time again. We have about 60 reports on this. Okay, and this is super flare on rapidly rotating solar type star captured in X-rays from Elsevier from 2024. Too much to read on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, by the observed total energy emission of whatever, luminosity of whatever, we classify this event as a super flare. And so, let's see, Newton timing spectral analysis of blah, 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 blah. State observed in 2016 and during 2017, super flare captured, as well as observations in 2019 during the super flare time frame, that they've been picking up on this. They're noticing micronovas or super flares, and that's the question. So, and where is it coming from? You know, our sun or from the galaxy? And where in the galaxy? But they're figuring things out, people, and they're observing very well. So this is from Ben again, and it's from Micronova is going to happen. And you know I don't have the date on it, but it doesn't matter. It's from Ben. And so remember, there are two ways to make a nova: a magnetic kick or material accretion. The Bible talks more about the material accretion in the sixth seal, but it can also be a magnetic kick. It's just a process magnetically. So the galactic current sheet delivers both the exact same time as an electrostatic whatever containing the galactic magnetic reversal point. So that's what's going to be the most important thing moving forward. When we get to that reversal point, it's going to be right off the cliff. Okay? And so so just get ready for it. You can pause it again and read the whole thing. But basically, it's a lot of science. So the process that we'll see in the sun that's listed out in the sixth seal is that the sun turns black. The problem is you have to be aware that it goes from yellow to white to red to black. And that's the physics of it. So months before a possible micronova, the galactic magnetic current sheet, that's the dust, must arrive nearby, and its electrostatic dust must be attracted and overwhelm the surface of the sun. The first change of the sun will be to turn white, as I said. As dust accumulates, the sun will turn red, then eventually black from the Earth's observation. There should be about 3 days of darkness, and then the micronova should occur. That's the sixth seal. Okay? So, will the galactic dust cloud remain relatively steady, or can we expect the sun might push things faster? Fair question. And Ben's going to answer it now. I would say that if there were, and I don't know if surge is the right word, so it's not really a surge. I hope you're okay with me changing that phrasing. If there were over density regions, I would like to think that we would be able to see that, but the caveat is that I would like to think that we would be able to see the dust as it is now. Okay, so that's critical. Once we spot the galactic magnetic current sheet dust, we will know that we're in dire straits. The caveat is that modern astronomy hasn't existed for long enough to tell what it looked like before the current sheet arrived, which most of you know, I believe, is in the 1850s. So Alaska Care, in this case, the person that asked the question, that is a very good question. Okay, so folks, there are no holes left here. That is everything you need from a scientific perspective, from the deconstruction of traditional nova astronomy to the discovery of what is possible, to the verification of the galactic physics, to the necessity of the solar micronova explaining the Earth, evidence and observations to the evidence that we're in the galactic current impact now. Okay, we aren't really seeing the dust, but we are seeing the signs of the dust. That means the dust is very close, probably now. Okay, we're at that time frame, and so I'm arguing these are my statements pretty much. A micronova can't occur during solar maximum because the dust won't accumulate sufficiently. It's better as the sun is going down, as it's quieter. The dust should be able to accumulate better. A micronova can't occur during certain declining phases because right now, the sun is so active, it really wouldn't accumulate so well. So really, there are these large flares right now. You need the galactic magnetic current sheet dust to arrive first and overwhelm our sun. So there is this thing that Ben's talking about, and Ben and I kind of got into a fight this week on the internet. And I love the guy because he makes me think, but I couldn't see it. I just couldn't see it biblically. Well, I found it biblically. I prayed about it, and God showed it to me. So how will we know the sun is developing sufficient electric potential to accumulate dust? We'll know by the arrival and detection of the galactic magnetic current sheet dust and its electrostatic dust, both locally and galactically. That's where I fought. I said it's a local event. No, it's galactic. We'll observe it. Then we'll watch our sun's electric potential drop until the dust will affix to it. We must be patient until the actual central galactic magnetic reversal point comes. The dust has no way to accumulate until that occurs. So we're just waiting for that. Okay, so once again, local and galactic electrostatic dust, and basically it's in other galaxies. Why do you think they call us the Milky Way galaxy? Because we have a lot of stars, but we also have a lot of dust. Okay, and so we're waiting for that dust to arrive locally and more galactically too. Okay, because we are technically we are a solar system. Okay, all right, but we're part of the Milky Way. So this is about the 60th confirming report of that galactic magnetic current sheet, the heliospheric current sheet, according to NASA, and ARXIV, the Great Wave, evidence of large-scale vertical corrugation propagating outwards in the galactic disk. Okay, thank you, ARXIV. That's a great report that states basically one more time that there's a dust sheet coming at us. Okay, ARXIV again, mini supernova from white dwarf neutron star mergers, viewing angle-dependent spectra and light curves. Okay, so I'll just describe it on the right-hand side via Ben's words. And this is a 2025 report from ARXIV. Last but not least, folks, I remember 7 years ago when I was talking about the micronova events. Now, those are a known thing. Same with nanonova, dwarf nova, mini nova, and now mini supernova. Folks, this has absolutely zero relevance to Earth's disaster cycle, the solar micronova and the recurrent nova triggering phenomenon, or the galactic current sheet. But it's very fun to watch the guys who said this stuff wasn't even real go ape nuts now, naming several new types of nova each year. All those scary sounding things that this paper isn't about. Yeah, you still need to know how to survive those. So flare watches, things like that, but keep in mind there are different types of nova that will occur, and this describes them. Okay, pause it if you want to. Why can't dust again accumulate sooner? Does the chaff make the sun look white? No. The changing magnetic field of Earth is a changing lens through which we view the sun. Until the actual central galactic magnetic reversal point comes, the dust has no way to accumulate. The solar wind and the photoionization of the ultraviolet brightness are still blasting it away once it gets to the upper corona of the sun. And so this is from Ben again. But basically what I'm getting at is it just can't happen yet, but it's getting close now. Okay, so this is but the fact that we're seeing it increasing at that level, not yet able to accumulate, tells us that all that has to happen is the short circuiting of the photospheric and the chromospheric electrical potential during the actual galactic magnetic reversal. And all that's going to stick, and the luminosity is going to die at the exact same time. The white color is due to its normal luminosity being seen through an altered lens. Okay, so basically, he's dealing with these different electric potentials that are going to occur as the galactic magnetic reversal starts to occur, and we're so close, so close. So it can't occur, our dust event of the sixth seal can't occur yet. Okay, so now we're on to the prophecy side of this, which is the sixth seal. We'll get through the fourth trumpet and the fourth bowl too. So then I watched as he broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. That's a micronova event. It unlocks the crust. The mantle will break free. It'll twist just a little bit. The sun turned black as it's not an eclipse. It's the final stage of micronova as sackcloth. In the Greek, it's sakos trichonos, so the sun is literally putting on a mourning garment because it is mourning all the sins that it's collected over these 6,000 years or longer. But it'll be layered like goat's shiny mohair or angora, if you want to look at it that way, worn in mourning. There probably will be 3 days of darkness. And the full moon became blood red, so you'll know the timing of it. When the moon is turning red, the next one is March 3rd, 2026. Sorry, I didn't date that properly. Then you'll know that it's possible we could have the sun accumulate this dust. The stars fell to Earth. That's little tiny stuff because they're fig-like sized. So that's a dust accumulation event, and that's very standard in a micronova. But it doesn't mean that the actual physical stars are dropping. The problem with the Greek is Astarte is Astarte. So it's just winter timing probably of figs shaken by a strong wind. And so it won't kill you, but it'll frighten you when that occurs. The sky receded like a little scroll. Okay, and that's a Megillah in the text. So it's not a worldwide thing. It's more like the South Atlantic anomaly that you're looking at right there. It's like a scroll, but just parts of it are rolling up. Okay, and then and every rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved, not far though, from its place. Then the earth's kings, rulers, generals, rich, mighty, indeed everyone, slave and free, hid them himself in caves and among the rocks in the mountains. When this occurs, everyone will know about it. That's Revelation 6:14 through 15, and said to the rocks and the mountains and the bunkers, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one sitting on the throne and from the fury, that's Orge, of the Lamb. This is proof that the rich and the poor, all of us, will be aware of the sixth seal. For the great day, fury, Orge again, has come, and who can stand? Revelation 6:16 and 17. So the bunkers, we'll all hit bunkers. We'll all know. Then will come the fourth trumpet eventually. And in this case, that'll be a dust event, but it will be a galactic, not just a local event. The first one's local, the next one's galactic, and Ben and I were fighting over that. The fourth angel sounded the shofar, and the third of the sun was struck, that's local, and the third of the moon, that's local, and the third of the stars, that's galactic, so that the third of them were darkened, that's obscured by dust. The day had a third less light, and the night likewise. That's Revelation 8:12. It seems to be cosmological and not earthly. So keep in mind, the first one was from the perspective of the sun and the moon, okay? It wasn't the perspective of the earth in terms of Doug Hamp keeps on saying, "Oh, it's just smoke on the Earth." No, it specifically states the occlusion occurs on the sun and the moon. In this case, it specifically states the occlusion is of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and it's hitting them. It's the subject object of this. It's hitting those types of things: the sun, the moon, and the stars. It is going to be local and galactic. And so this sounds like a twisting galactic current sheet striking or occluding these heavenly bodies. So, Sixth Seal has all of these signs and a workflow for all of them that works in physics, okay? And then, as I stated, I already read to you Revelation 8:12, so you know what that means, both local and galactic. And then the last one is the kill shot. They're all three dust events, okay, from the galactic magnetic current sheet. But the last one is the kill shot, and you don't come back from that again. Prophetically speaking, Rebecca Sterling saw this back in 1999. She documented it, and you can pause it if you want to. But basically, we don't come back from the final event. We come back from the first one. It's a few months, but we don't come back at the end. And so, yeah, she states at the end, one that they never come back from. So this is her video, Living in the Basement. Okay, the kill shot will occur. We aren't exactly sure, but we're starting to see us drop off that cliff, and we're seeing that it should be up between 2032 probably and 2040 would be the kill shot. Okay, this is the workflow of this process that I've been describing. I think in Visio. Sorry, that's just how I naturally think, and so I asked Grok to do this for me, and it did the Visio. So you can talk about it and view it yourself, and study it yourself. It's rather intriguing. Okay, keep in mind that King Charles III isn't going to be the Antichrist, but he came up with a contract called the Terra Carta, which is of the Earth, terra firma, and then now he's calling it the Astra Carta, okay, which is the stars. And that's 2021 and 2023, and then you can see the 666 there above his head. He's not the beast, but he is talking about the beast because it is going to be Astra. More prophecies. This is Wilkerson. Weather will become increasingly difficult to forecast. Sudden storms will appear without warning. Southernmost regions will be gripped by record cold waves, and northern areas will experience record heat waves. Airline pilots, like my buddy, will be reporting the worst flying conditions in aviation history, and he does describe that to me at times. The most intense hurricanes are coming. Many parts of the world will face the most violent winters of all times. Europe faces the worst winter lashings ever because the Atlantic current overturning is AOMC is not turning properly, or it's reversing. Okay, and so hailstorms, large chunks, huge hail storms will not only destroy crops and smash automobiles, but they'll also create death of many people. Watch out for reports of intense ice storms and hailstorms in the future. Be prepared for this. Okay, severe winter. Record snowfalls in the United States and Canada. That's Wilkerson from 1973. The United States is going to experience the not too distant future the most tragic earthquakes in its history. They're starting to occur. I described that Alaska one that occurred after the photons arrived. One day soon, this nation will be reeling under the impact of the biggest news story of modern times. It will be the coverage of the biggest, most disastrous earthquake in history. It will cause widespread panic and fear. Yeah. Okay. TV will suspend programming and carry all-day coverage. The beginning of the sorrows, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, hailstorms. This is Wilkerson. More than a third of the United States will be designated a disaster area in the next few years. Talking in 1973. It's starting to occur now. Nature will go wild. Floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes will destroy crops, animals, and much wildlife, driving prices even higher and causing some experts to suggest that nature is losing its balance. Dudeman also talks, and Wilkerson too, about civil war fomented by the communists in the center of the United States. Ending it up with John Paul Jackson, Perfect Storm. This is from 2008. Describing the next 10 years. Well, actually, it's probably the next 10 years from now. There will be woes starting in 2012. I believe the third horseman started riding then. The jet streams will go wild and cause major weather shifts around the world. There will be droughts in some areas, and water will become more expensive than oil. Coastal cities will experience earthquakes, and there will be a major earthquake in the Midwest. That's probably the New Madrid fault. Number 5, a volcano will arrive or will activate and erupt in the U.S. again. There will be thunderstorms with softball-sized hail and horrible rain, 24 inches of rain in 24 hours. There will be places with 3 feet of snow in 6 hours. Tornadoes will hit 350-mile-per-hour winds, and that is practically going to occur based off what Ben Davidson's talking about. Hurricane winds of 180 mile per hour. Yeah, oh yeah. That will occur. Ben has been prophesying that for years. A blight will hit a type of hybrid seed as a strike of God. The storms will disrupt food harvests. Yep. There will be an epidemic that will kill many, and it will start from another country and come to America. We've already seen part of that. It'll probably happen again. The bubble around our solar system will weaken and come to cause a new form of skin disease. Oh, yeah, that's coming. The magnetic field will shift. See that? Okay, and will form cracks that allow solar winds to affect weather patterns. This will also cause communication problems with plants and cell phones and cable TV. We are in the birth pangs. We are not in the tribulation. We're not in the Great Tribulation. We're discussing the sixth seal that will be part of a workflow with dust. And at some point in time, it will just start accumulating on the sun. And you need to be prepared for that, okay? So you need to be ready to go towards the Stone Age. And then finally, at the end, into the Stone Age. You will get married to Yeshua at some point in time, probably during a Rosh Hashanah, a Yom Kippur, or a Sukkot. What garments will you wear? You can't be naked. It's a wedding. Can't show up naked. Be blessed. Thank you very much for your time. This was a long one. It was very complex. Thank you for your time. God bless.